tukwaniriza ku mukutu guno ogwa health torch. Health torch tukuba torch oba tumulisa mu byobulamu bwo. N'olwekyo omukutu guno ogwetaaga. Gwe omuzadde wetaaga okumanya ebikwata ku byobulamu bwo mu maka. Gwe musawo asooka maama nga taata naawe oyambako. Mwe basawo abasooka. Nga tonnagenda eri gye bajjanjabira kubanga batugamba basawo nti kirungi okuziiza okusinga okuwonya. Kati health torch tukuba torch mu byobulamu bwa waka noweetereza sente zo ne zitagenda nnyingi. Ate gwe omwana asoma obusawo guno omukutu gugenda kuyamba nnyo lwakuba kati twogera Luganda naye ne mu Luzungu tubeerawo ne tusomesa. Kati gwe asoma obusawo naawe n'oyambibwa. Tuliko n'omukugu abamumanyi mumumanyi abayise mu ngalo ze muli bangi. Ekirungi nti musawo musomesa w'abasawo ate era muzadde kitegeeza byonna byonna bimukwatako. Musawo
wangi sebo
tukwaniriza
nange sebo yesi yokusanga
mujebale
kale sebo nawe
mwebale ku koza abasawo mugamba nti mwatendekebwa kuyamba bulamu.
Yes sebo
balamuseeko
abatulaba n'abatuuliza balamusiza nnyo. Amannya bampita Namaganda Sara era nga yeze Namaganda Sara kye bampita era kyendi
kye bakuyitira kyoli kanyumidde
nga ndi musawo ate nga ndi musomesa w'abasawo nga nsinga kukukambya kusomesa ku basawo abalabirira abaana oba abajjanjaba abaana n'abasawo abazaalisa kati ng'ebyo binakugukamu. Tuzze twogera ku mbeera z'abaana twatunuulira omukyala ali olubuto ku mukutu guno ne tutunuulira omwana bw'azaalibwa ne tutunuulira wadde vidiyo ezo saaziriimu naye naziraba bulungi nnyo. Kati olwaleero njagala tutunuulire obulwadde bwe bayita obwa diarrhea. Diarrhea z'embiro mu Luganda kyekiddukano
ekiddukano mu baana kuba ze zimu tutunuulidde nnyo obulamu bwaffe. Kati twagala tutunuulire embiro mu baana oba tukikole nga tukimikisinga n'Oluzungu oba tukole Luganda lwokka tunadda mu Luzungu.
Tujja kutabula kubanga waliwo ebyolusawo
nga tekisobola kudda
mu Luganda nga kirina okusigalirayo.
Yes. Kakati njagala tutandikira awo omuntu tutunuulire embiro zino oba omuzungu ayinza oga nti what is diarrhea? Diarrhea njagala ntereeza Oluzungu ngenda okutuuka mu by'Oluzungu nga ndi wakabi. Pronunciation eri etya?
Kisinziira ku accent y'omuntu nawa gye yasomera.
Ab'ekyamabaale temufaayo. Kyamabaale tugenda kukiyita diarrhea tetugenda kwemenya naye bano bakatubaleke bakiyite diarrhea.
Abadde tukomba nikiyita diarrhea.
Yes. What is diarrhea?
Diarrhea is passing more than 3 and more motions of loose stool. Loose, we mean that it is not as well formed as it should be.
Okay, it is not solid.
Call it watery stool.
It is not solid.
It's not solid. Or well formed. It may not be solid, but semi-solid. But
semi-solid or watery.
It is watery stool. It is loose. Call it loose or watery stool. 3 or more motions in a day. That is what you call diarrhea.
Okay.
By World Health Organization.
Owewaffe Bukoma Nsimbi omusawo kyatugamba nti omwana bw'abanga afuluma naye nga tafuluma obubi obugumu obukutte galinga mazzi obanga wakatikati awo ekyo tuyita diarrhea. Yes. So tutunuulire what are the causes of diarrhea mu baana?
Causes of diarrhea are basically microorganisms. Call them disease causing organisms or others call them germs.
Okay.
And that is in simple language to simplify life for others. So we have many causes or causative organisms that lead the children into diarrhea. These will include the bacteria, the bacterial causes. We have viruses that will cause us diarrhea, cause the children diarrhea.
Okay.
We have also the parasites. Those are the major classes.
Also viruses. Nze mu bulamu I thought that viruses cause flu-like things.
Just viruses cause different diseases.
Okay.
Not only flu, not only HIV,
So,
not only, but they are not
they
only
are also
measles, but they are
viruses
also
for
other,
diarrhea.
yes, that will lead the child into diarrhea.
Mm.
So those are the causative, basically the main causative organisms, diarrhea. But we also have other causes whereby the child will take in or eat some food that the body has rejected.
Okay.
That is, it will come in form of an allergen. And the food will cause this child diarrhea because the body is not compatible to this baby's body.
Owooluganda tetukwerabidde tuli ku bintu ebisobola okuleeta tuziyise ekiddukano mu baana, ebintu ebisobola okireeta. Musawo atugambye nti obumu buwuka kireetebwa obuwuka buyitibwa buvayirasi, obulala bu bacteria, bujaamuzi, parasites.
Collective name is germs.
Ffe era kye tumanyi germs, naaba mu ngalo wejjeko germs ezo.
But those germs, medical, we call them disease-causing organisms,
okay,
or microorganisms, or pathogens.
Naye kye tusinga okumanya nti germs ebiseera ebisinga bijja olw'embeera zaffe n'obukyafu bwaffe awaka.
Yes.
Simanyi oba nkibasibyeko musawo, but
ekyo kituufu nnyo.
Yeah.
It's very right.
Hygienic gundi.
The hygienic practices at home may not basically cause diarrhea,
yes,
but they will predispose the child or anyone to diarrhea.
Okay.
But the causative organisms are those very ones that we said, the bacteria.
So we causative organisms are the organisms that
will bring about the diarrhea. But you expose yourself to a circumstance that will make you take in those disease-causing organisms.
Organisms ze zino z'otugambye.
Bacteria, viruses, parasites. But circumstances can also cause diarrhea, but these will not be basically causative organisms. I said like the child taking in food, eating food that the body has rejected because of some makeup of the baby's blood, okay, whereby the baby will get allergic reaction, and one of the allergic reaction could be diarrhea.
You have given the baby milk,
yes,
but its body does not like milk.
It reacts,
okay,
to the milk that the baby has taken.
Okay,
that will be an allergen.
Okay,
now the milk becomes an allergen to this baby. But some others, they will take in food that the gut, call it the intestine, that cannot digest it.
Okay,
that will be,
and it is too hard for this baby
to digest, for the intestines to digest or break down. So that is also another different cause of what? Of the diarrhea. So there's allergy being different from indigestion. So the baby, you have given the food, but the food cannot be digested by this baby. So that will cause indigestion, and there will be no absorption. Hence, the baby will have the diarrhea.
Yes.
But on the other hand, it is just because the baby reacts to the food you have given. That is what? An allergen. So
kati omuzadde genderera n'emmere gy'owa omwana, ndowooza olina okutunuulira omwana wo n'omanya nti mmere ki, kuba ayinza okuba nga diarrhea tavudde ku germs ziri z'ogambye, but emmere ng'omwana ali, tukiyita allergy mu Luganda.
Yes.
Ng'omwana ayina allergy ku lumonde, omwana muwadde lumonde n'amuleetera embiro, kuba naawe omuntu omukulu oluusi kikubaako, waliwo emmere era gy'olya nga tekolagana na lubuto lwo. So kati si buli kimu nti zibeera germs. Tunuulira olabe emmere ki gy'obadde omuwa, then olyoka opima olabe nga germs bwe kityo. So we can go on, musawo.
So that is how the child will get diarrhea because of those very causes.
Yes.
So we shall now look at of course, we said diarrhea passing the 3 plus 3 or more motions of loose stool in a day. So that is how the child will appear.
So when I look at my bwentunulira omwana nga afuluma emirundi ogusukka mu 2 3 naye nga kiri wotale nga bw'otugambye kabonero.
WHA tugamba more 3 and more motions, but they should be of loose stool.
Loose stool.
Yes, we can pass stool 3 or more motions in a day, but it is normal stool. Then that is in relation to overfeeding, because the more you feed, the more the gut eliminates the wastes of what you have eaten through the anal opening.
Okay.
Yes. Now those are the causes of diarrhea. But if diarrhea has occurred, we need to manage it, because it may lead into severe cases, and diarrhea is the second cause of death in children.
Is it?
In the whole world, yes.
Is it?
It is very true.
The second cause
of death in children.
Is it so serious like that?
It is as serious as that, because it depletes all the water and it leads into what we call dehydration in this very child. So the more the child passes, the loose stool loses a lot of water and eventually ends up with dehydration. Dehydration
bwe bwana bwetusanga nga kali awo kaweddemu embiro zikamaze ekintu kino zembiro kyekiddukano kikye bayita embiro ze z'abakulu.
Embiro kyekimu n'ekiddukano,
kubanga ne bw'aba mukulu nga yafunye embiro era omulaba nga akenenya aweddemu. So mu baana kireeta dehydration.
Kireeta ne mu bakulu kireeta. So dehydration is having lost a lot of water. That is totally you have lost water, which water is responsible for facilitating all the activities in the body, in the body system. So if there is no water in that body, and we said the highest percentage of the body is made up of water, because it is very relevant for the functioning of the different systems in the body. The body is made up of systems, and these systems will work together to help the human being survive. So if they lose the water, which is the highest percentage and highly responsible for the activities in the body, then it can...
The result is death.
Yes. So that is what it does. Diarrhea will lead us into dehydration, and dehydration leads us into death. Yes. So we shall manage diarrhea according to how severe it is. If it leads us in no dehydration...
So, Musao, can we, before going to the hospital, can we manage diarrhea at home? Tuyinza tutya nti nga sinaba kudduka genda mu ddwaliro oba olukiraba nziruka emisinde genda mu ddwaliro. Can we manage it from home? Nga bwe tulinda ogenda mu ddwaliro?
It is very manageable at home, depending on the degree of dehydration it is leading into. We say the earlier the better.
The earlier the better.
The moment you have seen your child have loose stool, and there are more 3 and more motions in a day, so you had better begin on to rehydrating this child. Every time there are motions, you are supposed to replace what is lost in that motion. Yes, it is. If the child can take in orally, you replace that lost
because
fluid.
At every motion, the child tends to lose some water.
Yes. So you can have the...
At home, you have to say that you replace that one that it has lost.
Yes, it has lost. But what is lost is not this plain water that we take. No. In the lost fluid.
Kati omwenzo gani mwana kati bwafulumye motion eyo kewedde batuwe kigama ky'amazzi.
It shouldn't be plain water. So what is lost is not only plain water, but in the lost fluid, there are ions that are very important to the body. That our bodies, you can get an electrical shock. Because we have those ions, that's why we get electroshocking, because of those ions. So those lost ions we replace by taking ORS, what we call, other people call DARROs, or oral rehydration salt is in full is ORS. So that's what we
DARROs
give.
tuzimanyi.
Yes. The DARROs have those ions, the sodium, the sodium ions, the calcium, and so on, to replace the lost fluid. And water as well. There's also water in addition to the ions. So those ions that are lost, that are supposed to be replaced in the DARROs or ORS. So what do? We are supposed to mix. Or I believe all of us can afford to get a sacket of the so-called DARROs, call it ORS.
Yes.
Others call it OROS. So we can afford that sacket of DARROs or ORS and mix it with water. 1 sacket works in 2 mugs of liter, of water. Drinking, cold drinking water. And this is mixed. It will last for 20.
Cooked cold drinking water. Well cooked. Omanya abantu obagamba cold water.
It is well boiled.
Cooked chifu.
Yes, it is boiled. You shall boil it and cool it.
Well boiled, cool drinking water.
Yes.
Ate ng'oterese bulungi abantu bafumba amazzi n'amala gagateeka awo tagabiseeko nagafumbi. Nkiraba mu bantu abatunda obutunda.
As long as it is contaminated, it ceases being safe for drinking.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we have to make sure the storage utensils are clean, and so are the drinking utensils.
Okay. So we get that our sacket.
Yes, and we mix it in a jar, and it should be 1 liter.
Mugs.
2 mugs that make
that
up
is
500
a liter.
mils.
Yes.
Then we'll make a liter.
A liter, yes.
So we usually try to look out for mugs that make half a liter, and then we make 2 of the jugs. 2 of the mugs. Mix it with the 1 sacket of DARROs, call it ORS, and then keep it well covered in a cool, clean container. Okay. I said earlier that the water should be cool, boiled drinking water. That is clean. And then after a motion, a motion is the time the child has passed the stool.
Yes.
The watery stool. That is the motion. After motion, we shall give this child a drink of the mixed ORS,
yes,
such that it replaces the lost fluid every after motion, in order not to put this child into dehydration, which dehydration will kill the child, underlying the diarrhea. So if the child is taking in orally, that is by the mouth, and is not vomiting, can retain.
Can diarrhea cause vomiting?
Sometimes diarrhea may go hand in hand with
vomiting.
Yeah, but if the child has only diarrhea and is not vomiting, we try to give orally to replace the lost fluid through the diarrhea, the anal route. Then we said every after motion, give what the child can take in. Sometimes the child may pass a lot of it, that is the motion, are so frequent, and this child is going into dehydration, tries to become weak. We shall quickly go through the signs of dehydration.
Yes.
We'll have the sunken eyes. The eyes will be sunken. Yes. Some depression, that is what we call sunken eyes.
Sunken.
Yes, the child will have dry lips. Of course, you'll see the child, the lips are too dry. The tongue will also be dry. You can see a dry tongue when the child is really totally has no water in the body. Then the child will have as you try to pinch onto the baby's abdomen alongside the umbilicus, call it the navel, kundi. So you try to pinch, and this child's skin, as you pinch it, does not return very quickly. So it will go back very slowly. That is a warning sign that this is severe dehydration. But again, you see the child becoming so lethargic, lethargy is weak, and then you know this child is worsening. So it is very important this type of diarrhea that causes this child to have severe dehydration is taken to a health facility whereby they can manage it very fast.
Chiba chitususeko.
Atulaba omulungi. So at home we shall not manage it at home.
Obubonero bwabadde atuwa bwe bwa omwana alina agenza gwamu amazzi mu mubiri olwa diarrhea ono nti obuso bugwamu oluusi ng'obulaba buguddemu eri emimwa gikala olulimi olulaba nga nalwo lukaze bw'okwata ku mubiri bwoti naddala ku kundi osika bwoti oluliba ne lujja naye ng'ate teruddayo omubiri teguddayo omwana omulaba bw'atyo kitegeeza nti kali ke tugambye nti we can manage diarrhea at home kitegeeza it is bagamba above it is what kitususseeko muntawanya kiba kitususseeko so that means we need to take this child this baby to a health facility wonna weeri so let us go on mumanyi obw'oluganda
So with some precaution that I'm supposed to tell you about the ORS, when it is mixed with the drinking water, boiled drinking water, we make sure it does not exceed 24 hours after reconstitution,
after mixing it.
And the child takes, every after motion, the child takes. But after 24 hours, when
that is, it is expired.
Whatever is remained, we pour it and mix another afresh. So that's
can I do my ORS at home if I don't have that circuit? Obuduuka babugadde. What can I do nga nkizudde nti omwana diarrhea alabika waali it is passing that watery stool? Can I make my ORS at home?
You can. We used to do that, but there was a danger that was seen out of making the locally made ORS. That's why I believe
you don't encourage it.
We do not encourage it, and I will not teach it because
you don't want to encourage it again.
Because people become lazy.
Yes.
To go and just get 500 shillings, I believe, 1,000 to acquire a sacket of ORS that is well made, factory made. And
so
then
if you teach it, that means you have encouraged it.
Exactly.
But I think it is wise for a parent, when you have a baby, you buy your ORS and be with it, even if your baby doesn't have diarrhea.
Yes.
Because one day, it may happen when all the clinics are closed. But we have a clinic, the pharmacy,
drug shops.
The drug shops they are closed.
Yes, it is. But
it is wise. Is it wise to have some?
It is wise, but sometimes you might keep it for long and it gets expired in the home. So
okay.
But I believe the area may not be so that acute that you cannot access
the drug shops.
Exactly. To get the one sacket of ORS.
Okay.
Yes, it may be that acute. By the time it has occurred.
So it is better leave it to those people.
Yes.
Specialized in that. You go and get one when you get the problem.
Yes.
Yes.
So that is the way of managing it at home.
At home.
But we give a warning that the moment it has worsened and it is leading this child into dehydration, there's diarrhea without dehydration. That's what yes. Of course, you're losing water, but you're not getting affected.
Yes.
So it may not worry you for as long as you can replace until the child normalizes and recovers from the diarrhea.
Okay.
Then it is very important that the child also, you take the child or visit a health facility to see the causative organism if they can. Sometimes there is a cause that you need to treat to do away with them.
Instead of treating these signs.
Yes.
So if your child gets diarrhea, you need to take it to the health facility to see
the cause of
the cause.
And it is the mother or the caregiver that will always tell what happened that to bring up the onset of this diarrhea.
Auntie,
so
they
whatever
say
information you give will help the health worker to know the cause of this diarrhea, and then investigations can be made.
Kubanga awo mbadde nzija. Abaana ffe kati ffe gye tubeera eyo, abaana nga bamera amannyo, batera okufuna ekiddukano ekyo. Amannyo gakireeta. kati era bwe ntuukayo mbagamba nti kuba kati nyinza okuba nga nkitegedde mannyo kati omwana bwe ganaakula ajja kutereera.
Mannyo.
What do you call it in Lusawo oba in English? Okumera omwana wamerera amannyo waliwo gundi eyo. Period eyo omwana wamerera amannyo. They sent omwana afuna nnyo abakyala bagamba nti omwana afuna nnyo ekiddukano.
Period of tooth or teeth eruption. When teeth are erupting from the gum.
Yes.
So when these teeth are erupting, usually the child is in an active stage. It has begun to crawl. They begin usually at the age of 6 months.
Yes.
The first teeth may begin at the age of 6 months. Roughly they are 4 to 6 months they can begin to erupt if the teeth, depending on the heredity. Some others erupt teeth at an earlier age, others at a later age. There's delay depending on the heredity or the food the child is feeding on.
Yes.
But by 6 months, we assume that the child is beginning to erupt the teeth. That is the first teeth will erupt around 6 months. Though others can come earlier, between around 4 months. But we can give it an allowance of 6 months. So when the teeth are erupting, this child is active, has begun sitting, has begun playing with toys, some of them begin to crawl. So at that stage, they are very active, that they can also look for infection to introduce into the mouth, and they have the microorganisms, call them the disease-causing organisms, that will lead us into diarrhea. However, it is not the eruption of the teeth that will cause the diarrhea.
Kankavunule tekitegeeza si kumera mannyo kwe kuleeta ekiddukano. Nkavunudde.
Exactly. Thank you so much. So what predisposes the child is the eruption of the teeth, and following that, because of the itching of the gum, where the tooth or the teeth are going to erupt, the child will react to that itching by rubbing on too hard substances in order to file the gum that is itching. So they usually tend to bite onto their toys, playing toys, and which toys may not be clean enough. Hence introducing infections into the mouth, hence diarrhea. Then other than that, the parents might be too eager to see this child develop. And you see, my child has now grown, he's now beginning to develop the teeth, and they keep on looking into the mouth. Not only look, but they also touch to see the teeth.
Busala katusewa.
Exactly. So that is how also they will have to introduce infection into the mouth.
Bannange kitalo nnyo. Waliwo ebintu ebimundoze bitulu. Abantu abasinga balowooza nti okumera amannyo kwe kuddukanya omwana. Omusawo atugambye gwa njogera naawe ategeera Oluganda, awulira Oluganda, nti si mannyo nti ge galeeta ekiddukano kino. Naye ebintu omwana bw'aba amera amannyo, ekibuno kino aba yeetaaga okkiwagala oluusi kimusiiwa. Kati ebintu byazannyisa ebimuli okumpi atandika obbirumaaluma, jjukira omwana ono aba ayavula. Kakati ebyo oluusi bibaako bujjamuzi buli bw'obukoozi nga diarrhea bwe yatugambyeko emabega wali. Kati obwo bwe bumuleetera ekiddukano kiri, gwe n'olowooza mbu kumera mannyo. Kakati ate n'abazadde abamu aba musanyufu nnyo, oluusi ye mwana waasooka, oluusi omwana yalwawo okumufuna, kati n'alyoka ayita maama Naaka jangu kaameze labayo. Kati ne maama Naaka naye n'aleeta engalo ze, naye n'akwata ku mwana n'ateekayo olugalo akwate ku bunnyo alabe oba busala, buli kaseera ayagala okulaba we butuuse. Kati maama Naaka tumanyi gy'abadde, ayinza okuba ng'ava na muka buyonjo. Kwegamba ebintu ng'ebyo ffe ne tudda mu kimu nti okumera amannyo, naye nga embeera gy'alimu. So kitegeeza when I manage those, omwana asobola okuyita mu period eyo katafunye diarrhea.
Exactly.
Ate era amannya aba agameze. Ndowooza waliwo n'ebimu bye tulowooza nti abantu babitwala nga oba bye muyita myths. bye tutwalanga ebiri culture nti kati kyatondebwa bwe kityo mu Buganda omwana bw'aba amera amannyo alina okuddukana so nga kiva ku biri embeera ziri
tuziyite false beliefs. Exactly.
Yes.
So false beliefs or wrong rumors.
Yes.
Okay. So with that, the introduction of the teeth, I mean the eruption of the teeth, and predisposes to diarrhea because of the people that touch with dirty hands, because of the child that files the gum with dirty toys. They also, some of them may also be biting on their fingers, of course, which fingers touch onto the ground, the playing ground, which may not be clean enough, where they crawl. And of course, parents, we said, also being eager to see that. Not only even parents, but even the bigger sisters, bigger brothers to this child.
Yes. They are also eager to see their sister or their brother
erupt the teeth. So that also would cause, predispose this child to diarrhea. And actually, by experience, how did I go about this? That I never saw any of my children have diarrhea following eruption of teeth. I usually kept it secret, not even to the bigger children, that I would not show them that this child is erupting teeth. And by the time the teeth had erupted as fully, that's when they would see. I would actually not alert them, and they would eventually see later.
Themselves.
They have seen the child's teeth already erupted. So that is how I would keep it to myself, not to cause them anxiety and eagerness and happiness to keep touching those teeth that have newly erupted. So you can do the same and avoid introduction of infections into the mouth. Probably some other thing I think would be the false belief, call it a myth, that of the false teeth, what we call ebinyo. We shall also look at ebinyo as a topic because it has
on itself.
Yes.
Ebinyo bye bagamba babikuuta babikola ki tujja kubitunuulira nabyo.
For us we call false teeth. False teeth we shall discuss. They are very important because they have also caused us very big problem of diarrhea because of the myth of the false teeth. So we have managed this child with diarrhea at home, but we have seen that you cannot manage at home, so we have to send the child to a health facility which can manage this type of diarrhea that has led into dehydration. And then we surrender to the health worker to take it over to prevent the severe cases of diarrhea into severe dehydration.
So kati akaddako awo kaba tekakukwatako musawo kaba kagenze wa musawo kati ako tujja kwogera n'abaana abasoma obusawo.
No, but also it's very important.
Kaba kakyamukwatako.
They should know why we have to take to hospital.
Yes, let us go to that.
When we cannot manage to control this dehydration following the diarrhea, it is very important that you know what will happen in the health facility. Because you are giving orally the ORS, but this time the health worker is supposed to probably introduce a tube through the nose to the esophagus and the stomach to feed the child directly the ORS. Because
that is very important.
Yes.
Because the muzadde might come, my child is going to die.
Many of them refuse.
Bamutaddemu akapiira.
Exactly.
Agenda kufa umwana wange.
Yes. And because they don't know why we do it, so they might reject the introduction of the nasogastric tube for feeding or for introducing this this, because most of them actually say when they introduce the tube, umwana agenda kufa, which is not good, which is not right. But it is not the tube that kills, it is the condition at
that
which
you brought this kid
in which the child was by the time you brought the child to a facility.
So omuzadde si kirungi kutya kapiira kubanga kiba kisusse wali wabadde yamusobolera.
Exactly. So it is very important for us to know as to why we're doing that. Loss of water, plenty of it in the body, then we shall lose life because of dehydration.
Okay.
Our bodies will stop functioning because the water that was vital has been
So
lost.
you don't need to reject this.
No, they should accept. We tell them that they should know why they are introducing the tube to keep this child getting continue getting. But if still the
It
condition
is
has
for the
worsened,
good of your child. It is not that he's going to die.
yes, and for whatever is done, of course, parents are always communicated to, and they consent to whatever the health worker has to do to this child who has this condition or any other condition. So still, if the child is so severely dehydrated and the tube may not help at that time, the health worker will put up a cannula and they introduce the fluid directly into the vein.
The veins.
The fluid that is introduced directly into the vein is not that one that you mixed in the jug.
Okay.
It is a different one.
It is different from
Yes.
from yours.
Yes. So that is why it is fast acting because it goes direct to the bloodstream.
Okay.
That's why, depending on the state of dehydration this child is in following the diarrhea and for how long the diarrhea has been. And how many motions they are in a day.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So we shall also look at how do we prevent this.
Yes, because prevention is better than cure.
Indeed, it is
Cure,
very
cure.
better, far better than cure.
So because tutunuulira ebintu ebimu bye tusobola okukola mu maka gaffe nga tonnagenda wa musawo mwana wo kutuuka kuba nti agenda mu ka tube engeri gy'okatya. Let us manage this sickness at home.
So we are preventing it before it occurs. Why do we prevent it? Because it might lead us into the other death that we talked about.
Yes.
Which they say it is the second leading cause of death in children. So we prevent it in the following ways. First and foremost, having hygienic environment
at home. Yes.
Unhygienic and sanitary environment will predispose us to diarrhea. Of course, if you remember the 4 F's.
Food, feces, finger,
and
temuseka wamma kankaddemu. Food, feces, fingers. Nkalina. Flies.
So it is
the 4 F's.
Yes, the flies will take the go to feces, from feces to food. It is the cycle. It doesn't matter. But those are the 4 F's. And we have to link on to the other. So
the flies go to food.
They come from feces. They go to food. And the fingers also taking.
Okay.
So all that, if you have not washed your hands
the 4 F's.
properly, as
so
it is
that means
these days.
Hygienic environment.
Yes. Yes, it should be hygienic an environment to prevent those, because it is oral fecal route that is affected when one gets diarrhea. So that is it. So that is, the environment should be hygienic enough. And when it comes to the 4 F's we have talked about, washing hands should be our culture like it is in this
in COVID times.
Yes.
In fact, nze nakirowoozaako ne ndi ndowooza COVID akomyewo okutuzaayo ku kayigiini oli owedda, because we have to wash hands always.
Should be part of us.
Okay.
Even before COVID period.
Yes.
We are supposed to have washed. But I used to insist on these people to wash hands. They would actually wash hands. Usually as you go to eat food, one would wash hands without what?
Without soap.
Without soap. And thinks you have washed hands.
Yes.
Much as you have running water.
Yes.
But of course, because our palms have creases in them,
yes,
they harbor a lot of microorganisms in the creases of the palms. So if you never washed with soap,
musawo bwagamba bwe buno obula buno obutusalamu
And even the more
butuleeteramu
even the
ebintu
small ones, yes.
buvaamu obulwadde
Those are the
obuwukawuka.
diseases, yes, those
So
are the
kati bw'oba tonaabye na sabbuuni bwekwekoomu.
exactly, that's where they hide, and then you'll take them in.
So kati at home oba covid waali oba no covid, washing hands
Is very
should
part of
be
us.
part of us.
Yes, it is routine. Actually call it routine hand washing.
Kubanga kati ono omwana abamu ffe tumutabulira n'emmere.
Yes, much as we may mix the food,
Yes.
they also have to wash also.
Yes.
Because when they reach a stage of touching, of course,
touch for themselves.
We shall also look at that stages of growth and development, where we have the oral phase of sexual stage of development. Oral is from 0 to 2 years.
Yes.
Everything they touch, they put in the mouth. That's why it is called oral phase of growth and development. So they also have to wash hands. As you may prepare with clean hands, well washed with soap and running water, they also may get tempted to touch because that is their stage of development.
Okay.
Everything they have to touch, they put in the mouth. So we make sure they also wash before they begin feeding.
Yes.
Wash hands as you prepare the food, and let the utensils also, the feeding utensils also be well washed.
Yes.
And probably dried under sunlight or sunshine, because it has ultraviolet rays that will kill microorganisms within the feeding utensils. Or else you clean it.
So you don't wash and bring the cloth.
If you have a very
dry
clean,
it.
If you have a very clean cloth,
they are not sometimes very clean.
Well hung.
It dries so many plates.
No, that one
at the same time.
That one for feeding, cleaning the child's feeding utensils should be specifically for that child and be well kept and regularly washed. Yes, that is it. You can dry if you have kept it well and somewhere where it is not contaminated with microorganisms. So the washing hands should be part of us. Feeding utensils well cleaned. The environment where we play, the child plays should be clean. And diarrhea mostly gets through the oral route because we ingest it most of the time. Okay. So this child should make sure, you should make sure as the caregiver that this child takes in whatever it takes in is safe for eating.
Safe, yes.
More so, it is very common for children to acquire diarrhea through water. So most of there are people there in the community who say for us we don't boil the water. We take it direct from the jerry can. Depending on the source, it could be contaminated water.
Definitely.
Depending on where you keep it, the container that keeps it may be contaminated. We shall also see.
In fact, there is a risk on water. Safe drinking water. Yes.
We shall also look at that as a topic.
Because contamination, waliwo amazzi mu nsuwa. Nti timuyina na kikopo kiseeramu naye nga buli ava eri nannyikamu kyakisanze naye nga mwagafumbye so and you say diarrhea obulwadde buvuddewa.
Contaminated the water that was previously safe for drinking.
Okay.
And then it will cause what? Diarrhea. Water is actually the easiest route for contaminating the child's gut by introducing what? Microorganisms that will cause diarrhea. And so are the foods. Most especially when they are beginning to start on adult foods, that is weaning period at 6 months. We should be very careful because previously they were breastfeeding and if the mother was hygienic enough, there are hardly ways of this child getting
diarrhea.
But it is possible for a child also, if the mother is not hygienic enough, to introduce infection into this baby when breastfeeding.
So hygiene at home is paramount.
Yes.
We have to be hygienic.
Whether at home or anywhere,
yes,
it should be paramount and part of us.
Yes.
Yes. So that is how we can prevent. With diarrhea, with erupting tooth, we said we ignore as we don't introduce, we don't become so eager to see that we introduce our hands that are not clean enough into this baby's mouth. And probably we shall do away with diarrhea. For others, there are diseases that will be attached that diarrhea will occur because of other diseases.
Okay.
Yes. That in cases of febrile conditions, there's malaria. It can have what? You can have diarrhea.
Diarrhea because of malaria.
Because of malaria. So all those other, there are other diseases that will get attached to diarrhea that we can also prevent in order to prevent the diarrhea.
Don't forget to subscribe on this channel. Right, if you are watching this video from anywhere else other than YouTube, go to YouTube, write in Healthy Torch and subscribe. If this is your first time here, subscribe, click on that bell icon. Whenever we put a new video, you are the first to know that we have put another video. So please, I urge you to subscribe to this. This is your life, and life matters, my gundi. Subscribing gw'omwana omusawo asoma obusawo n'omusawo ono mukugu ate muzadde. So kati subscribing bingi bye weetaaga okumanya, gwe maama ali awaka naawe taata. Bataata, let us not leave this to only women. Omukyala atuuka n'ekiseera n'agenda mu ddwaliro n'akugamba baŋŋambibwe bati n'olaba nga akubba because toli involved mu kintu kino. Maama akugamba twetaagayo butawero obw'okusiimula ebintu by'omwana, kali akali wali tekamala. So because toli involved mu bintu bino. So bamaama mufube okulaba nga video zino togiraba bwomu, ofube okulaba nga dadi waali n'ogenda ku Healthy Torch n'otuninga. Mulimu okubeeramu ebyo ebyoku tumuwadde agende omuwadde naye ng'obulamu bufa. So tewali asobola kufa ku bulamu bwo before you. So please subscribe to Healthy Torch. Malaria diarrhea tumumaze.
Diarrhea tugira tumukomyawo. Ebyokwogera tulina bingi. Tujja
kumwongerako ku stage ate endala. So tulina bingi, tulina ebintu bingi by'osobola okulaba. Links we ziri ku videos endala tugenda zikuteerawo. Nze Kimuli Godfrey Magunda saabagambi tukome wano.
Yanziza okutukyaza.
Mwebale nnyo.
Webale kutuwuliriza
n'okutulaba.
N'okutulaba.
Kati awo ne bwenzijjako.